Kia ora, g'day, welcome back once again, here with, holy heck, not sure what part I'm up to right now, maybe part 10 of my reaction to the New Zealand SAS, First Among Equals, and they're into the cycle portion of the documentary, nearing the end of it actually, so let's jump back in.
Move quickly to their pre-arranged meeting point. On cue, the extraction chopper arrives and the teams are uplifted with all on board. But this is only the first part of the mission. The patrol's success tonight will be gauged by their objective being successfully completed. And it is. Tonight, the five have proved themselves amongst their peers. Their time at Waiouru is now over.
They're more physically robust, they're more mentally robust. Their level of expertise has gone up exponentially with the amount of training that they've had.
The next stage in their education can only come.
Very true, that, in terms of everything that the guy was saying just then, in terms of the level, your training, your knowledge, your understanding, your competency, your skill, etc., has significantly, drastically, in my case anyway, it had drastically improved.
From deployment.
Well, that's what you've trained for. You know, fingers crossed, the beeper goes off, you're waiting, hopefully it's you.
Back at HQ, the five are invited to experience one of the unit's rare times of formality, and by its standards, pomp. This is the unit's annual regimental dinner, a living roll of honour, where rookies and veterans of the NZSAS sit side by side.
It's probably the time where everyone sits and reflects. This unit's done a lot, and it will do a lot, and it's important that its heritage is respected.
Your country may be small in numbers, but it's a giant in the size of its contribution to the world. The greatest asset with which New Zealand is blessed is the quality of its people. And the New Zealand SAS epitomizes all that is outstanding in this brave country.
Being among illustrious company makes the five troopers even more eager to deploy.
When you've got that heritage and that past, it gives strength to the guys, and they know that, you know, people have done it in the past, they can do it.
Those members here tonight from the original squadron and those past members of the unit, you can be assured that today's SAS group maintain the same ethos, strive for the same standards of excellence as you have done.
This is a defining moment.
What a legacy, eh? For the originals, for the NZ unit I'm talking about here, and the obviously the older ones, the originals as I mentioned, and then the newer ones, and the even more newer ones in terms of the guys from Cycle being there. You can't help I would imagine, but not feel a strong sense of connection to the unit, to the NZDF as a whole, and to just to the opportunity that lies before them to go on and serve and do the work that they know the pioneers have done in regards to the NZSAS. So it'd be a very cool feeling, probably similar to what the All Blacks do with regards to, sorry to go off topic slightly here, but with regards to what the All Blacks do when they're bringing in new team or debutants. And just from what I see and hear, without having been in the All Blacks camp, but from what I see and hear, the embedding and the constant reminding and the things used to help the players, both, you know, dare I say, old and new debutants, connect to the black jersey and what it means to those that played in the past, and to what it means also now in terms of, sorry, that's Shub's calling, and in terms of what it means to the country to this day. Like, yeah, hopefully that makes sense.
For the five troopers, as they're accepted into the brotherhood, that is, one NZSAS. Soon, it will be their turn.
I'd love to get a flag to go next to the flag here of the NZSAS, of the Australian SAS. yeah, that'd be cool, actually. I should add that to my to-do list. That'd be cool to get a flag. Not go and steal a flag. That's not what I'm talking about. And I don't mean go and acquire a flag either. I'll have to have a look into that. Maybe I can look to get one made up. Not an official flag or anything like that, sponsored or approved by the unit, but just, yeah, you know what I mean. Anyway.
The guys all believed that you just couldn't just go cold on operations. There was always a live firing rehearsals before you went on any operation.
When I spoke to the other guys, they all went through the same process. And you train and train and train and train, and then all of a sudden you're really doing it.
We've got to understand quite clearly, I mean, without a shadow of a doubt, that Operation Claret means that if you are taken on the other side, all knowledge will be denied to your presence over there.
The international war on terror is hotting up. And New Zealand's involvement is being discussed.
If there is to be a deployment, there needs to be the political decision made by the government. Is this an operation that New Zealand should be involved in, and how can we best respond to that? If it is urgent, a small group of ministers will come together. The ministers will consider the situation, be briefed entirely on it. We'll consider whether the preconditions of a New Zealand deployment have been properly met.
For one, NZSAS, whether they deploy or not, is in the hands of the government.
Everyone has to be prepared, have everything in order, so that if short contingencies arise, then that they're in a position to respond.
While awaiting Wellington's decision, the unit trains to an operational level of capability, OLOC.
So we need to have our bags packed and equipment on the shelves ready to use.
Yeah, gear all packed up on pallets, some of them depending on your role and where you are. And yeah, that's just part of the job. I think I don't know, maybe people have a better understanding of it now, but or maybe they still don't, but it is normal to have all your kit and your gear packed, ready to go. Probably the only thing not stacked on the pallets ready to go is the gear that you're still using for training. So your weapons, your night vision gear and all that sort of stuff, although there'll be a whole bunch of spare gear and all that sort of thing, which the QEs, the store personnel and that do a great job of doing and organising. All your expendables and all that sort of stuff packed up as well. But pretty much at the drop of a hat, if something happens and you get the call up, well then you go. I'm not speaking from the NZ perspective. I'm speaking more so from my time in Australia, but I imagine it would be 100% the same in the New Zealand unit.
For the 5 troopers, experiencing OLOC will be as close as they get to the real thing.
If we look at Afghanistan, for example, strategic reconnaissance, looking at sensitive sites, exploiting sensitive sites in terms of where munitions have been kept.
In the event of such missions, the unit must...
Munitions, intelligence, caches and troves of all sorts of stuff, depending on what those sensitive site exploitation type stuff may be, or where they may be, etc., or what you could, based on the intelligence that you get in the reports, what you might expect to find, and or be going in there to collect or get.
Be combat ready.
It starts sinking in when you start issuing more specialist equipment, you start focusing on jobs.
The 5 rehearse the dangerous parachute infiltration. At a military airbase, the soldiers run through the operation specifics over and over. First, they'll have to identify a landing spot chosen by agents on the ground. Upon landing, and without being detected, their mission objective is to find and then destroy an enemy weapon site. At some stage, they will encounter an opposing force.
It's a matter of ultimately giving you an insight and preparing you for the real thing.
As the 5 slip into the night, the countdown on this first taste of combat has begun.
People do get killed and hurt, but the job at the end of the day, which is the most important part, has to be completed, even if it's just you by yourself. And it's that type of ideology that the unit teaches. Somebody's got to do it, and you might be the last one in the patrol, and you've still got to try and do that job to achieve the goal that was asked of her. And that's the difference between us and the outsiders.
In terrain which resembles the landscape of Afghanistan, a local agent prepares the landing site with a marker. This flare is the only guide for the parachutists. Weighed down with a full pack, weapons, night vision equipment and explosives, the journey to Earth is as dangerous as any mission they will undertake.
I was too slow to pause it then. I was going to say, look at that imagery of that sky. I wonder if I can get it if I rewind. Oh, probably not. Sorry. That image there. Look at that. It looks like something out of a movie, eh? These lads about to jump into that, into those clouds there with that sort of lighting. It looks cool, I think.
You could be falling into an abyss, pure darkness. That's freaky. It really is. You can't explain that unless you go and actually jump at night.
For the 5, the real test now begins. Taking formation, they arc across the sky. Accuracy is everything, with surrounding power lines, roads and lakes, all acting as obstacles to the infiltration.
Once you hit the bottom, it's the beginning of your job. You're not only thinking about how you're going to get in, but you're thinking about your mission. Get it done and get out.
Landing safely, they must now track more than 15 kilometers over rugged terrain. The night vision goggles, the only source of illumination. Their mission...
Those must be... I wonder what generation those are. I want to say maybe Gen 3? I don't know what generation NVGs are up to these days. But I would like to think they're probably better than the green haze with the black blurry patches that you see in this footage anyway. Maybe they're still the same.
Is an enemy target stockpiled with munitions. Ahead lies the certainty they will encounter enemy forces somewhere along the way.
You know it's going to come thick and fast, and you don't know when it's going to end.
Live ammunition will be used throughout, and like an actual mission, the soldiers have no idea when the enemy will appear or from where. But after 3 hours, there's still been no sign of the enemy, and now the target is at hand. Checking all is clear, the patrol commander commits to going in. While some soldiers trade fire with the enemy, the rest of the patrol lay their charges. Working calmly among the confusion, the troopers complete their task and beat a textbook retreat. The next time they do this will be on foreign soil.
Not really a lot for me to say in there. Just the lads doing their thing. Guys getting their reps in, so to speak, doing the training, executing the task based on the planning, the mission prep and everything that was done, and combining all the different elements and pieces of their training so far to this point of where they're at on what they called OLOC, and putting, like I said, putting things into practice. So seems like it's gone well, what you would expect. And there'll still be a debrief and patrol report, and there'll still be briefings and discussions in and around things that should have been done better, could have been done better. Probably some acknowledgement on what went well, but there'll be a heavy focus, or at least there used to be, and I'm pretty sure it's still the same. There'd still be a heavy focus on things that can be done better, just trying to find those little 1%ers to be just that little bit better.
The New Zealand SAS is an elite fighting unit, part of an international coalition. Often covertly, it deploys its troops all over the world, helping in humanitarian causes and more recently, the international war on terror. For 5 new troopers, recent world events are about to become a reality.
In an environment where a decision might need to be taken very quickly, within 24 hours, people can be on a plane and heading to the destination where their services may be needed.
The troopers must now play a waiting game. Will they be among those chosen if the government asks the NZSAS to be deployed?
Everyone joins a unit to go on operations. You know, it's what everyone aspires to do.
That's a great point, I know I've said that in other videos, and when people have asked the question, particularly when people have asked me why did I go to the Australian one, why didn't I go to the UK? Well, UK was on the plans, but after, I wanted to do the Anzac route first for me personally, and then with plans to go to the UK, but I never ended up going over there. But when guys have asked me, have any other soldiers that I know of gone and done 2 countries SF selection courses, the answer is yes. Like, there was a number, I don't know what the numbers are, but there were plenty of people from the NZ that were badged NZSAS members that went over and did, typically guys from NZ typically went over to the UK and applied to do the UK SF selection and joined 2 SAS. So there were a number of people that had gone and done that long before I even did selection for NZ, long before I even thought about going to Australia, and long before I eventually did go over to Australia. So, and the reason that guys were going over to the UK is because they were always and had always been and had a much higher operational tempo. There was always just work and jobs to go on. So that's why a lot of the Kiwis, as far as I'm aware anyway, and the ones that I know, that's why they put up their hand after being badged in NZ saying, yeah, I want to go to the UK, because there's a high operational tempo for them. There always has been, and there likely always will be. Australia's likely right in that mix now and has been for a long, long time, the Commandos and SAS are. So, I think regardless of where you go, from a New Zealand perspective, if you're looking to join another country's defence force like the UK or Australia, then there's probably, dare I say, maybe a high probability that you'll be deployed and utilised. So the landscape of war, training, preparation and all that sort of stuff has changed these days. There'll be a lot of fundamentals and basics that are still the same, but the frequency with which deployments may happen, you'd like to think there's possibly going to be a review of that, given the nature of the allegations of war crimes in Australia and potentially with the same sort of allegations in the UK, etc. Who knows what's happening behind the scenes, but yeah, the operational tempo and what this ex-CO was saying, people join the unit with the intention of wanting to be deployed and serve, and not to just go and murder people, contrary to some retards' beliefs out there that think that that's why people join an SF unit. But anyway,
And so they wait.
You started off at the beginning with the selection, holding on to my Belgian beret, deciding that this was going to be a career for me, and realising that I don't want to go anywhere else.
2 years of training feel short.
That's, yeah, geez. That brings back memories and mindsets and everything. For me, just hearing Eddie speak just then, realising they don't want to do anything else. I think for me, and probably the same for Eddie as well, and most people that go there, I feel like for me, I already knew that I didn't want to do anything else, that was it. Like in the army, if I'm going to be in the army, I'm going to be in the SAS. Like bide my time, do the things that I need to do in order to, or before I get there, like obviously battalion and all that sort of stuff. But once I'm there, and then we're getting ready for operations, like I didn't want to do anything else, nothing else.
Compared to waiting for news.
We didn't publicise what we did, and we had language to cover what we did to our families. You know, they just knew when we went over the hill, or language like that.
When these chaps went somewhere, the wives didn't even know they were on an exercise or it was for real, let alone where they were. They just didn't know.
Everything you've done for the last however many years you're in SAS is up for this.
Finally, the orders come through.
1 minute, you know, you're waiting out to hear who's going. Next minute, yeah, you're going, you're on a plane, let's go.
All 5 troopers are going on their first deployment. Over 50 years ago, Major Frank Rennie trained the original NZSAS force to deploy overseas in the name of New Zealand.
Shout out Mr. Frank Rennie for his work and legacy that he's left behind and those originals. But made me smile there when I just heard the narrator saying that the 5 new troopers will be heading on their first deployment. Like there's a sense, and well, for me, I can't speak for them, but there's a definite sense and feeling of excitement is one of those things, to be honest. Then a sobering reality that, that for me anyway, the sense of excitement quickly dissipated. And it wasn't taken over by fear or anything, it was just taken over more by a sobering reality or realization that we may not all come back. I might not come back. There's no guarantees any of us are going to come back off this deployment. And that, for me anyway, put things into perspective. So that sort of probably still didn't eradicate completely the excitement or this feeling of I was built for this. This is why I joined. This is why I've gone through everything that I've gone through. And now I have the opportunity to deploy with some of the best men that I know and, you know, continue to earn their trust at another level again, because most of the guys that I deployed with in one squadron had already deployed on operations. So they already had a higher level of trust in and amongst themselves, but also they had the highest level of trust that I could afford to anybody, because I already knew that the vast majority of these men had already deployed on operations, had already been battle tested, basically, and that I hadn't been. So I wanted to give a good account of myself. So those late nights and attention to detail and all those things come flooding back, and you want to make sure that your gear is ready, that you're ready to go physically. You're doing extra PT, you're lifting more, not to try to bulk up and get bigger, but just because there's this surge of energy I found for me, and I needed to use that. And so I thought, oh well, if I put that into some physical PT, like all my gear is done, and put the remainder of that into PT, that's going to help and pay off in the long run. That was always my mentality, and it still is to this day. Like, put some time, effort, and energy from a physical perspective, it's going to pay dividends down the track. Work around those injuries, work through them if you can. Sometimes you have to, sometimes you can't. and good things will happen. So yeah, just some really, for me, some good memories, I would say, for me, that come back, like trying to find, I don't want to use the term balance because I don't think there is a balance, but trying to find a measure of, there was that excitement, but then a sobering reality for me that nothing's guaranteed, bro. Like, what is guaranteed is that you're getting ready to deploy on operations. What is guaranteed is that you're likely going to be physically and mentally capable and able to deploy on operations. What's not guaranteed is that you're going to come back, and that some of your mates might not come back. So those things for me helped, dare I say, quell the excitement levels in me personally.
Now, half a century later, 5 more troopers take their place in this elite lineup.
That's what you've trained for the last 2 years to get out there and put it all to good use.
Good use being the right word that Dale has just mentioned, and put it all to good use. That is, like the men that I served with, and when you go there and serve, and New Zealand will be no different, and even some of the ex-NZSAS operators that I know, they are there wanting to put it to good use, not to go and just be scumbags, which is what I think some retards out there in Civvy Street think, because they are retards.
It's like an All Black sticking a black jersey on, or a guy sticking a black jersey on for the first time. You're here to do your job, and that's what gives you all your satisfaction.
Those are really good points. They're getting the satisfaction, like pulling on a black. I've never pulled on a All Blacks jersey. Well, I have, but not as a player. I've got some All Blacks jerseys which I'm proud to wear in support of, as a fan of our wonderful team, the All Blacks here. But yeah, I understand what he's talking about, and I think people get that as well.
It's doing your job and doing it the best you can, knowing that you are carrying on a legacy.
With maximum focus but minimum fuss, the 5 troopers load their equipment ready for imminent departure. Unlike conventional soldiers, there's no fanfare for this unit on deployment. What the NZSAS has done in the past.
There you go, the pellets, the like I said, all their operational kit that they would have been training with will be the last things to get pelleted up and packed up, boxed up, and then wrapped and then shipped off.
And will do in the future, must remain a closely guarded secret, as these 5 are about to find out.
Given that the government and the SAS have a neither confirm or deny policy, we will never know the full extent of places to which these fellows are sent.
There's plenty of places and jobs that the Kiwis have been deployed on, places that I think a number of people across and around the world would be surprised to know that Kiwi SAS soldiers and operators, whilst serving actively within the unit, were deployed to places. I think that would be very surprising. Some might even be shocked if they found out and knew that some of the places where the Kiwi lads have been.
This is the moment when 5 troopers become NZSAS soldiers.
that is clearly wrapping this up with regards to the deployment, the lads deploying. It's pretty impressive to me how the media, in collaboration with the unit, just the timing of it, from through selection, through cycle, right through to this deployment, which I presume is off to Afghanistan at the time. Pretty cool how it was all how it's all managed to work out, I guess, is what I'm getting at. And then just reading through some of the history that is showing up on the screen. I'll just let this play out and then wrap up. All right, that's it. That's the wrap up. Well, I finally finished it, bro. I forgot the fella's name, actually, the handle of the person that asked me if I was ever going to finish this reaction series that I'd been doing. So finally finished it today and enjoyed it. Glad I come back to it. Glad that I had the friendly reminder, the nudge from one of the kind supporters of the channel to come back to this. So yeah, seeing all of that, excuse me, trying to wrap all of that up. Awesome. For my default language, awesome. That was awesome. But it really was. Watching this, like I shared just before this, I could have waited till here, and I should have waited till here, but just the timing and the coordination of the media in collaboration with the unit, the understanding and agreement of what could be shown, what was discussed, what wasn't shown, etc. Just understand, for anybody watching this, not my reaction, but I'm talking about anybody who's watched this documentary, and if you happen to stumble upon my reaction, and you happen to stick around and listen to me yap on, it's still only a fraction of what actually happens on selection, on cycle, and then life within the unit, and then when they go on to deploy. So even I have an understanding of that, even though I was never badged with the NZ unit and never deployed with the NZ unit on operations. There's a heck of a lot more that happens behind the scenes, just from my experience from selection and cycle alone in NZ, and then my experience within the Australian regiment. So yeah, hopefully people have, I think part of the reason for this documentary being made and shared is it's partly a recruitment tool as well. To hopefully it lands and resonates with a number of people, maybe some other young 14-year-olds or 10-year-olds or whatever that might come across the actual documentary, not my reaction, and they may be inspired to go, yeah, that's what I want to do with their life or with a portion of their life. So I know it definitely would have for me. If a simple black book with 3 letters SAS and a whole bunch of images, I'd bypass the words and the writings underneath those, could inspire a 14-year-old boy like me to want to focus on and commit to doing that and joining a unit like that, then I'm sure a documentary like this will definitely have good impacts in terms of recruitment and inspiring the imagination of other people, whether they are young and or middle-aged and or what some might consider old, to potentially look at and go after as well. So anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed. If you've stuck around and watched any of my reaction to this, hopefully it's been okay, and hopefully you've got something out of it. If nothing else, at least a bit of a laugh, I should say. And yeah, maybe hopefully it gives a little bit more of an insight from a lens from somebody that has at least gone through and been fortunate to pass the NZ selection and complete the NZ cycle, and then gone on to serve in the Australian regiment doing selection and cycle and stuff over there. So anyway, that's about it. Appreciate your time and support once again. Thank you very much if you spent any time here. Look after yourself, and I'll see you and or you'll see me if you choose to follow me on the next one.